What's going on, y'all? What's cracking? How is everybody? Get us the Lucky Lipper and freaking lock in. So, planned on something interesting for tonight, but instead, um, coming at you with a curveball. So, I've been debating um I've been debating on this deal of try and move this over. See if you guys can see the screen in the background, or not the screen, the whiteboard in the background. Anyway, I have been debating on doing this um, really ever since I started. Um, there's a couple of channels that I watch that I've seen them do it, so that's kind of um, where the idea comes from. So, um, yeah, um, obviously, we've had to do it from the phone because of this thing that that has been a complete and utter nightmare. I don't know. I have no clue what is going on with this thing. Anyway, wanted to try and play the game tonight and talk about a interesting Tigers take that I heard today. And, well, that went down the drain because of, well, it basically has shut down my computer. It shut off the camera. It just, I don't even know anymore. So, anyway, welcome to Farmin And Bs. I'm Mike. I usually go by Mikey, but whatever. It'll all work out, I guess. Uh, I am out of Detroit, if that hasn't been clear yet. The point is that I am somebody who I love talking sports. Obviously, the last couple of streams have tend to prove that. Obviously, there is plenty we can get into, but look, I'm a simple dude. I am somebody who lives with brain injury, and it is what it is. Can't really do much about it, but um, I want to help people. Is the main point. I want somebody to be able to see this channel or stream or whatever, and I hope that in essence I can make their day better. And as I've talked about in probably 3 or 4 different streams, I live with anxiety, I live with depression, all that kind of stuff. Uh, I am not going to come on here and tell you that it is not real because, well, I live with it, and last I checked, it is real. But let me get into a little bit of why this channel. So after my brain injury and everything that happened, um, to me, that's really when the fall of Detroit sports kind of went down the drain. And very, very simply, I ended up finding out about sports radio. And I was like, well, that's kind of interesting. I wonder what the hell I can do with that. So I was like, okay. Well, then I found out about Farming Simulator. Now, mind you, that when I do these streams, I still have no idea what the hell I'm doing with the game, but we're learning, kind of, maybe, somewhere. But this game is so interesting. And as I talked about a couple days ago, this game in particular saved my life. And I was in my darkest days. And I was basically ready to end it all. And so I really sat down and I thought about this, and I was like, you know what? What if I took sports and everything that I talk about, and obviously right here, obviously those are my work notes, but what if I took everything and put it all together? Now, obviously, there's going to be some differences in basically everything. Well, let me start with this. I love this game specifically because of there's just so much to do. So I was like, okay, how can I create this and then add in the sports? Now, the reason I add in the sports is because sports is my life. Obviously, because, well, I work in sports radio, but the point is that with that, I was like, okay, if I want to talk sports, it's going to have to be about the stuff that I know about. I'm not going to talk about the things that I don't really know about, because then it basically sounds like I'm being dishonest. And I don't want to do that. So I was just sitting around one day, and I ended up finding out, all the stuff I needed. And basically, that's where this thing comes in. Now, obviously, that is my work notebook, but I tend to put a lot of effort into this notebook because this is where all the ideas come to life. So then as I got into sports radio and I got into the business and I got into everything that I don't want to say that I would notice, but that's how I'm going to frame it. And the way that I framed it was, if I can do this, I can make a very interesting channel. Maybe, kind of. somewhat. And obviously, I just kind of went from there. It was this small idea that turned into something bigger, maybe, kind of. And that's when obviously I bought my computer and all the stuff, and I was like, okay, so now how do I do it? And as I said before, I there's a lot of things in game I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I try anyway. Then obviously came that thing, that whiteboard. So obviously, if you didn't check out the shorts, that would have been yesterday. I posted 3 different shorts. And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. Like, maybe I can, figure out how to do some things with this. And I was like, okay. So obviously last night I posted the archives, upcoming topics, and then this week's topics. Now, I will say those are obviously going to change with the season. But at the same time, I want it to be unique in its own way. So, like, for instance, tonight, I heard an interesting take today about AJ Hinch. Now, obviously, let me be very clear. When it comes to these teams, I stand up for you, the fan. Not the teams, not the owners, none of that. I basically did this, I don't even know the right word, maybe sabbatical? I don't even know. The point is that I took, I think it was like 2 or 3 years, and I sat down and basically learned everything that I possibly could. And then I started formulating, I don't even know, is that a word? Kind of. It's been a long day. My bad. But formulating my own opinions, my own topics, all this kind of stuff. So obviously, let's get back to today. And a coworker said it 4 times. I was like, well, that's kind of interesting. I wonder if anybody's saying that. And usually, I'm not the one to get into conflict. Just not. It's not my style. But when you say something that's pretty asinine, yeah, we're going to talk about it. And it was the idea of firing AJ Hinch. And so, I want to say I've got about 4 pages, 5 pages of notes regarding this specific topic. And so, when I do that, it's kind of hard to explain, but when I do that, I start thinking about this. I start thinking about, how can I bring that topic here? Now, look, let me be clear. I get it. Sports isn't everybody's thing. Farming isn't everybody's thing. My thing being is that I know to a sense I'm a little bit different So I want to be able to bring that to here. I don't know if that makes sense. If it does, you guys can let me know. Now, that obviously didn't work because, well, Streamlabs basically said, we don't know what's going on. Here's an error. It's already whatever time it is. So I was like, okay, great. You know what? Cool. Let's throw the curveball to start the week, and then we'll go from there. Now, I don't have a specific, schedule of ideas and things. But I try and put a lot of time, a lot of effort, and when I have an opinion, I say the opinion, I go with the quote, and I try and give reasons as to why I simply believe what I believe. And that's just, to me, how I can do the job. Now, obviously, I can't consider this a job yet, but we're kind of getting there. So obviously, we have plenty of content. Well, that thing right there, there's a lot of topics on there. A lot. But obviously, it is nice out. Let me know down in the comments if it's at least nice where you are. It was like 83 here today. It was freaking amazing. But very, very simply, I think this can be interesting. It is the way I'm going to frame it because, I mean, my mind is just like that. It's absolutely insane. But I think this can be a unique channel. And the reason why I say that is because of, we're going to talk college football. We're going to talk the NFL. We're going to talk baseball. We're going to talk the NBA. We're going to talk NHL, MLB, all of it. And so, when I bring that all together, to me, it's, I don't really know how to explain it, but it's basically me. Like, I'm giving you my real, raw, authentic self. And obviously, there's, well, let me put it like this. There's two silos, right? So there's you guys and then there's me. What I believe is, and what I stand, and what I tend to stand on, it is that while I do the streams, the videos, and the shorts, and the clips, and all that, that's all fine and well. That is on me. But what I truly believe is, you guys are the ones who make this channel what it is. And so when I slow it down and I end up talking about it, when I say that, what I mean is that it's me and you guys. I have to come up with the topics. I have to come up with the questions, all that kind of stuff. So for me, it's really gotten interesting because of there is just ridiculous amounts of content that I can make with whether it's the game, whether it's the sports, or whether it's me. And so, for me, it's if I can be my real, my raw, my authentic self, then I can make this channel interesting. I have to do the heavy lifting, but you guys are the ones who are the real MVPs of this channel. All of you. Whether you like me, dislike me, love me, hate me, whatever. I appreciate every single one of you. And to me, not only does that need to be said, but it also needs to be proven in a way, kind of. And the reason why I say that is because of you guys are the ones who do the viewing, the liking, the commenting, all of it. And you guys will just never understand how much that helps me. Whether it's personal, mental, whatever. It is the fact of that, to me, I don't think that a lot of people come into this that way. And so that is where the uniqueness and the difference comes in. Because to me, as I just said, it is all about you guys. You guys are going to be the directionist. And the reason why I say that is because let's just say, for example, like I was going to do the video that I was going to do the stream that I was going to do tonight. And we were going to get into that opinion with the Tigers. I wasn't even going to get into tonight's game because we're going to leave it there. But it's the sense of you guys are the ones who create the traffic. And when I say that, it is the pure and genuine interactions that I get when I talk to you guys. And so it is one of those things that is, to me, it is bar none the just the coolest thing ever to me. Now, again, I know that sounds silly. I'm here. That's it. But no, as far as the game goes, let me talk about the game for a minute. The game it is, to me, just another part in this. To me, I don't want... Yeah. to me, I don't want to be normal, if that makes sense. Um, because of, in the sense of playing the game and talking about sports, it's the fact of that. I look at it this way. We're not doing, serious stuff. We are simply having a good time, and we're just hanging out. Like that's just the way I look at it. We're not doing, surgery or law enforcement or construction. Very, very simply, sports is not real. Let me start there. But with that, there is, okay, see, this is where I'm going to get in trouble, and you guys can direct it. But to me, there is no other town in America that has a more love-hate relationship with their sports teams. For instance, the Tigers. The Tigers have not won in basically what feels like 42 years. Now, have they won games? Of course. We don't stop there. We're a championship or bust type of thing. Look, I'm a heathen, okay? The Pistons have not won since 04. My whole point with this is that the fans not only deserve better, but they deserve a different voice in the room. And here's what I say when I say that. What I mean by that is, well, for instance, the person we were going to talk about tonight. I don't do the whole cheerleader, I love the team, pom-pom routine. I don't do that. What I tend to do is I tend to come up with a topic, and then I tend to almost layer it. And obviously there is so many layers with the Tigers. We are, don't quote me on this, but 70 days away from the trade deadline? Somewhere around there? 70, 71-ish days away from the trade deadline. And it's the sense of when I'm sitting at work and I'm talking to the fans and I'm reading texts and I'm listening to these calls. It's the sense of, it gives me almost this excitement. This excitement to get here in my house, obviously, and bring that to you guys. And that's where, to me, I feel as if I can be my authentic self. And so, when it comes to the Tigers, and obviously we're going to get into it, there is layers upon layers upon layers of just pure content that we can do. Like, for instance, maybe Saturday, somewhere around there, we plan to talk about what do you do with Scooble. Now, I can't just come on here and say, what do you do with Scooble? Because what is that? You know, what is, you know, what is that type of content? That's, to me, that's boring in a way. And the reason why I say that is because of, to me, there needs to be a certain topic and a certain question along with that. So basically, well, here, let me explain the topic. So this is what we're going to do when we talk Tarek Scooble. So obviously this would have been a month ago, maybe even more. We get the news that Tarek Scooble is going under the scope. And he gets the particles removed. He's back throwing. This, that, the other. We had the, what do you call it? The anonymous, cryptic, social media rumors, from last week. I believe the name was like Will Carroll or somebody. And he said basically something to the effect of, yeah, you know, Scooble's going to be back next week. And it's like, huh? No. That's not how this works. So, in that sense, when it comes to the topic, what I'm going to do is we are going to take Scott Harris, who is the president of baseball operations, and we're going to put him way over there. Now, you guys are going to be in the captain's chair. You guys are going to be the ones to tell me what you want to do. And I think when you frame it that way, it gets you to think. That's the type of content that I'm trying to make. It is, I don't do the whole just fan lazy talking points, narrative driven nonsense. No, you have to look at the data. So we're going to take everything that we have, whether it's reports, quotes, numbers, whatever. We're going to bring it all into one stream, and then I'm going to come to you guys. I'm going to put you guys in the captain's chair. You get to be Scott Harris for a day, and we'll go from there. At that same time, I want it to be fun. I want it to be intense. I want it to be not the lazy narrative driven BS. And so, in a sense, that is where the BS in the name of Farmin and BS comes into play. Then, of course, we have the game. I think that's pretty self-explanatory as far as the farming part. So obviously, when we go to the middle ground and we talk about different series, we obviously have Grandpa's Farm. So I talked about this series. We've already done 2 episodes. If you guys want to go check it out, go check it out. Thank you to everybody who commented. Thank you to everybody who viewed and liked and everything that you guys do. You guys are the real MVPs, period. Then, of course, with Grandpa's Farm, as I talked about before, that is going to be, to me, the what do I want to call it? The difference series. And when I say that, you're probably looking at me like, huh? So, let me explain it. So, obviously, there is people I watch on YouTube who also play Farming Simulator. And I came across, the name escapes me, but I came across another channel who is doing a Grandpa's Farm series. And I was like, all right, this is pretty interesting. So I take that idea, and what I do is I put it into the game. So I don't just do one save game. So we obviously have with, well, Grandpa's Farm, for instance, we have the real thing, which is the multiplayer people I work with. The name escapes me, but I'm sure I'll figure it out in about like 5 minutes. But it is a multiplayer server that one of the YouTubers suggested, and I was like, okay, this sounds pretty interesting. Let me check this out. Easy setup, works with the game. All right, cool. Then we have the testing server. So the testing server is basically one that you guys won't see. Now, the reason for that is because of that is the save game that me, the wife, the kids, and, you know, all the people that I work with end up using to test different mods and all that. We'll get into that momentarily. The real thing is what you guys see. And again, forgive me, please and thank you, because of, I know it's from the phone, not great quality, Bob, not great. We're working on it. I don't know what's going on with Streamlabs. If any of you guys do have suggestions, like I talked about in the last stream, I will probably hug you because, well, that's been a nightmare. The point is that when it comes to Grandpa's Farm in specifically, it's not just Grandpa's Farm. It is the idea of using things from, whether it's my buddy's Grandpa's Farm, or it is the fact of using the real thing. And so it is not just, one series in one. No, this is like 3 or 4, maybe, somewhere around there. So I prefer anything but the 1x maps. Not, like, I don't hate the 1x maps, but I like the bigger maps because there is so much to do with Grandpa's farm. I mean, especially with, I know how to mod, so if I want to do edits or whatever, I can do those things. And I think that is truly what is going to make the series what the series will be. Then, of course, there is the evolve part. Now, the evolve part is that I don't just like building one specific farm. I like starting out with somewhat old equipment and really building up throughout each series to see where we can get. For instance, like with Grandpa's farm, I want to work up to a, let's just say something random as a 9R. Pretty big tractor. May not work for 100 acres, but we'll get there. But I like the fact of that we can change the buildings, we can change the cattle pastures. There's just enormous amounts of things that we can do. So that is where the Grandpa's series, or Grandpa's Farm series, comes into play. Then, of course, we have the first gen. We have the first gen series, which is going to be, I'm adding somewhat of a, I don't know how to explain it other than something a little bit different. And when I say that, what I mean is that I am going to use the sense of, I just got out of high school, just graduated, and I want to become a farmer. So we're going to use that as our base, our foundation, if you will. And I gotta say, the map is actually really, really interesting. I saw Austin Farmer, shout out to him, using this map. Very, very interesting map, and it adds a lot of different challenges. So it is going to be one of those things where we're going to use the foundation, like I said, and we're going to work our way up. Now, not much room to work with, but we'll grow as the series progresses. Then, of course, we have the Blast from the Past series. I am really looking forward to that series. I just downloaded the map. What would that have been? That would have been Friday? Either Thursday or Friday, somewhere around there. And so, that map in specifically is from Farming Simulator 19. Now, obviously, if you follow my socials, we kind of started out there and then worked our way up to 22 and now to 25. I would like to do a topic of what is the best game in the series, mainly because I do think it is 25. Could totally be wrong on that, but that's one of those topics where I don't think there is a wrong answer. And so it's very, very interesting. And then, of course, obviously, it comes into the fact of I do want to hear from you guys. If you guys have suggestions for series, mods, maps, tractors, seeders, planters, whatever the case may be, drop them below. The reason I say that is because of we kind of go back to the two silos conversation of what you guys do. Now, look, the main thing is the main thing, and that's truly the way I want to keep it, is that I want you guys to have fun here. I want you guys to be able to talk, be able to comment, be able to like, stream, whatever. All of those certain things, because what I want to do is that I want to take this specific channel and I want to connect with you guys and grow it into something where we all can come together and say, this game is what created this channel. That's the main thing. I'm not asking you guys to be savants or whatever. Simple. Keep the main thing the main thing. I don't think that's asking too much. Now, if it is, my bad. We do have a new map from Elk Mountain. I have not had a chance to play it. I did see a couple of YouTube videos on it. It looks amazing. Would like to get on that soon. I know Delta South has got a bunch of different maps out there that we can use. I mean, I spend ungodly amounts looking for mods. I seriously do. It is way more than I want to admit. But no, it's just I want to make this fun. That's the main thing. So, and like I said before, let me be unequivocal. I know the game is not everybody's deal. Sports isn't everybody's deal. I'm cool with that. If you subscribe, if you like, if you view, whatever the case may be, just know I appreciate you and thank you more than you guys will ever understand. Simple as that. With that said, let's get into some topics. So I'm thinking I'm going to probably stay up late because I don't have to be to work until like noon tomorrow. So what I would like to do is try and get this computer fixed so I can figure out how to get Streamlabs running again so that way we can do it from the computer. Because no, I don't want to do it from my phone, especially because, well, I have important things on my phone that, well, go towards the channel. Kind of need that. Alright, so what the hell are we talking about this week? This week, we have got tigers, we've got lions, we've got Pistons. So, yeah, I wear glasses. Yippee. Anyway, so we've got 3 Tigers. We have got 2 Lions. We've got 1 Pistons. And then we have the college football and the NFL. Not going to say wraparound, but I'm going to say blitz kind of deal. So when I say a blitz, here is what I mean. We are going to do a specific stream, and whether it's the start, the middle, or the end, we are going to end up going 8-9 minutes and fast-paced questioning. And with that, we are going to go ahead. I'm going to ask you guys some questions. You guys comment, share, whatever, and we go from there. Period. That's how the blitzes work, and we'll go from there. With the Tigers, obviously, they lost 10-6 tonight. Not a great start, Bob. Not a great start. But with that, with the 2 Lions topics, I've got a list from Colton Pouncey out of The Athletic. Very good read. If you guys want to go check it out, I will leave a link in the descriptions. Somebody remind me to talk about mods and the descriptions when we get the moment, so I can remind you guys on that. But we have a list. These are one of my favorite damn things out there. That is the top 10 players who make or break the season. My favorite freaking thing to do. Not only because I'm a football junkie, but because, well, I like those kind of lists. A little bit of nerd, but whatever. And then we got to get into the schedule. We have got to get into the schedule. Because, boy, oh boy, do they keep stepping in it. We're going to leave it there for the topic, but somebody from that organization stepping in it. Just a little bit. I'm also going to give you a warning with the Lions schedule, because I keep hearing this opinion, and it is the dumbest opinion I've ever heard. So there's your 2 Lions topics. We will probably do them together in one stream. Let's go ahead and pause for a minute, talk about mods and the descriptions. We'll get back to the topics, and then we will get you guys to the rest of your evening. With the mods, if you see a particular mod in the stream, and let's just say you might be looking for it, check the descriptions below. The reason why I say that is because that is where you will find the links to the mods that I genuinely support. Now, the reason why I say that is because I tend to think a little bit of everybody's a little bit different. And whether it is buildings, whether it is barns, sheds, cows, pigs, chickens, sheep, horses, whatever the case may be, trucks even. The mods that are in the description, those links are the guys that I genuinely stand behind. You will see them in each series, and obviously we will go ahead and make the descriptions. We will go ahead and put the links in there, and you guys will be able to find them. Now, fair warning, I tend to use Patreon mods. Not great for some people because for some reason they just don't like it. Eventually, I would like to do a live stream, not explaining, but putting a different sense of putting a different sense out there. And what I mean by that is that I think when it comes to Patreon mods, that is where you are going to find quality. And look, every series is going to be a little bit different. You know, I mentioned Grandpa's Farm. I believe we have over 350 some mods in the mod folder that we tend to use. Now, obviously, a lot of them have to go with the map and other things, so that way we can have the things that we have. With that, though, that is the main reason why I tend to use paid mods. And eventually I would like to do a live stream talking about that, because I think it is a interesting topic, based on, yeah, I do believe in the sense of pay to play has a positive type of connotation to the game. And so, yeah. So when it comes to the mods, if you see a mod in the stream that you're looking for, or maybe you like and you want to go download it, check the descriptions below. All right. We have one Pistons topic that we will get into sometime this week. The point is that with the Pistons, I think the Pistons are at a crossroads. I've got a different opinion on it than most people, so I want to get into that. I want to get into the reports on Jalen Duren. I want to get into JB. I want to get into Trajan. Oh boy, that one is going to be tense. So we did the two Lions, we did the Pistons. The CFP and the NFL topic, that is going to specifically be about a rule that came out, I believe it was last week. And what that is in specifically is, in fact, the rule about NFL Europe, which I think should absolutely be met with apathy. I'll give you the numbers. We'll get into that. And then, of course, we have the N, or no, the CFP. The CFP one, I am going to phrase in a different sense because of, to me, I think we're headed somewhere where I don't think fans are going to like, if you want me to be honest. Then, of course, we have the Tigers. So, the next stream, I got to get into Doug. Because Doug's comment really, and I mean really, bothered me. And the reason I say that is because of the take itself has no merit. So what are we even talking about? And not only that, but on top of that, I also did the research. I do a lot of research when it comes to, well, each topic. The point is, no credible source is saying this. None whatsoever. So when it comes to that deal, it is about what are we even talking about? Why would you take that to the air when nobody has that opinion? And so I think it's a very interesting topic. I think it's a very, not just interesting topic, but I think it's something that fans need to hear, especially regarding this team. We're going to have a lot of these. What I'm going to talk about next, which is the Sell Me This Pen. And more than likely, I will do this with every team. But the Tigers, I think, is interesting because here's the thing. So we operate day by day by day. We operate in today. That's how this works. We're not looking years down the line. And look, I'm going to say this. It's not to be provocative. But it is one of those things where, to me, this season is going to make or break the Scott Harris era. And if you guys would like me to get into that a little bit more, obviously, drop it below. Your guys' comments mean everything. So, if you want me to get into that opinion a little bit more, and you guys would like a stream on it, please let me know. You guys, like I said, you guys are the ones who make this channel what it is, and you guys are the ones who drive the topics, drive the views, drive the streams, all that kind of thing. We are going to talk about the core. And I think that's where this Sell Me This Pen comes in. Now, obviously, if you don't know what movie I'm referencing, I am referencing Wolf of Wall Street. Sell me this pen. You guys will be the ones to sell me this pen on who the Tigers core is. Then, of course, we got to get a little bit tense, a little bit tight. We got some interesting reports. Interesting reports on why they're not calling guys up. Uh-oh. So no, I think the Sell Me This Pen topic is going to be interesting. It is going to be one of those things where you guys and myself will obviously work together. Then, of course, the one that I talked about earlier in the stream, if you do want to use the rewind feature, you guys can. That is, of course, I am going to put you, the fan, in the driver's seat. You get to be Scott Harris for a day. We're going to put Scott Harris all the way over there, basically outside, and we're going to go from there. I am going to come up with a particular question, and then you guys are going to tell me what you guys want to do with Scooble, because that is where that opinion originates. Because what I would say is look at it this way, right? So when we talk about this season, we talk about the Tigers, we talk about this offense, we talk about, all these things. Obviously, as I said, we are 71 days until the trade deadline. The trade deadline is going to make or break the Scott Harris era. Period. End of story. I don't say that to be provocative. I say it because it's real. You have the biggest trade chip in the league. Teams are going to be calling. And it is on Scott Harris to make it happen. Then, of course, if I can go ahead and turn that, there we go. On the other side here, we have some other topics. We got to talk about Pistons, of course. We're going to be talking about Pistons during the summer. Specifically because of, I do believe this is a big summer for the Pistons. And so I do want to talk about that. And look, that topic, I think that one's going to be interesting too, because it is simply where I come to you guys and I ask, hey, look, what move could the Pistons make to where you would say, I'm happy? And so we'll debate it on stream. A Scott Harris convo. Look, I truly believe that this is going to bleed into some other topics. And the reason why I say that is because of Detroit GMs. How do I want to phrase this? Detroit GMs are allergic or scared of free agency. And so to me, there is some very, very interesting ones um, regarding um, Scott Harris's moves at the trade deadline. Um, and so it is one of those things where I think there's a couple of them that need to be pointed out, especially right now, in the sense of everything going on. What else? Thank you, bud. I hope you have a great, good day as well. Then we have the "so we're really doing this" dishonesty at large topic. That one's going to be a little tense as well. And that topic, in specifically, is going to be about the Tigers. Because to me, let me put it this way. To me, there is one thing that is truly being blown out of proportion. And so, to me, it is dishonesty at large. We will get into that. I think that's going to be a really interesting topic as well. Who is the savior? That is another Tigers topic. I do think that is going to be interesting because we do need to talk about it. Because roster construction is becoming a thing, is becoming a memo, if you want me to be honest, about, well, not about, but here in Detroit. Then we have the plant your flag topic. And obviously it is going to be a specific one over the summer that we will talk about, and it is Jalen Duren with the Pistons. We do need to talk about that because there's one thing that I think people are forgetting when it comes to paying Jalen Duren. Yeah, we may or may not have ran into a efficiency problem on the farm. Then there is the Kyrie topic. The Kyrie Irving topic. And I'm going to be honest here. I do not like Kyrie Irving. And I think, to me, if you do acquire Kyrie Irving, then as it is put on the board, it's a loophole into your mantra. And what I mean by that is that when I talk about the Pistons or the Lions or the Red Wings or the Tigers, they all have this mantra, this image that they have to uphold, And I believe for that specific topic, if you do acquire Kyrie Irving, I believe it's a loophole into your, as I put it earlier, your fake image. So we will talk about that. I do have a question regarding the New York Knicks. There is a. This is something we will do often, which is a wellness check on you, the fan. I really wonder about something regarding the Knicks. So we will get into that. Doug had a wonderful topic today about young players. And look, there is some very good young players here in Detroit. Now, do I believe we overvalue them? Absolutely. So I do want to get into that. We will go ahead and talk about who has the brightest future of all four teams. Then we have the crack topic. Now, usually, I'm not one to listen to dumb calls, especially when I'm at work. But this one took the cake for the worst one to start out the week. So we got to talk about that. And then we, of course, have another tense topic, which is the Terry and Arnold situation. Because boy, oh boy, there is some layers to that. And TA might have stepped in it. Very, very simply. Oops. Then, of course, we do have the archives. Now, the archives are for midsummer. And when I say that, what I mean is that it is basically we'll call it the Midsummer Classic. And what I mean is that my schedule slows down, sports kind of tend to slow down, and we don't really have much going on. So, we do have some really good topics. Which is, if I can flip it, there we go. We have the Who Needs It Better. We're going to be doing these during the summer. I do believe we need to have a conversation about the best GM in town. We do need to talk about who has the better shot between the Lions and Pistons. I do want to get into JB's comment because, well, JB's comment rubbed me the wrong way. Why not wings the rule for the channel? Look, this topic is very, very simple. We do have a rule for this channel. The Red Wings don't exist. Very, very simply, until they do something of merit, we will not be talking Red Wings. I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. We then have the forecasting the town and teams. who's at 1, who's at 4. We will do a power rank. This one, why are Detroit GMs such cat enthusiasts? What I mean by that is, boy oh boy, do we got a lot to talk about when it comes to free agency. Because as I said earlier, they are allergic to, well, free agency. Cookies decided to say something dumb this morning. It was the dumbest comment I have ever heard on the air. I, in fact, got up, took my headphones out, and I walked out of the room. It was that absurd. We do have a theory about Detroit GMs, and that is it so far. So we are going to be saving those topics for midsummer. Obviously, we're going to be doing a ton. We are going to be doing a ton on this channel. We are going to be doing a ton with the live streams, a ton with the shorts. And then obviously we do have the laptop, and then of course the whiteboard, which is full of topics. And then on top of that, there is another side to that whiteboard, which is completely full with topics. So, yeah, I think I've covered everything. Yes. All I ask from you is very, very simply, we have the same rule on the show. The point is that very, very simply, if you have an opinion, say it with your chest. And we don't do straw man arguments around here. I talked about how this is supposed to be fun. Sports isn't real. We're not doing construction, law enforcement, or major surgery. Obviously, shout out to law enforcement. Shout out to our surgeons, our doctors, law enforcement, and then obviously all of the construction crews. I explained a ton of different series. I did talk about the one note, which is you, the subscriber, makes this channel what it is. You drive the streams, the shorts, everything. So yeah, there's a ton. We have obviously we have a ton of content on the way. The only thing I can ask for that is very, very simply bear with me as we get everything set up in game, we get everything set up with the topics. But it's, we will make it work either way, man. Very, very simply. We will make it work. Yeah, I think that's everything. So this feels really good. I finally got this one off my chest. Yeah, I think that's it, guys. So thank you to everybody who views. Thank you to everybody who subscribes. If you like what you saw today, of course, drop me a comment. It can be about anything. Anything you heard tonight. Obviously, Let me know if you had a good day. Let me know what your day was about. Um, yeah, guys. With that said, welcome to Farming and BS. You guys, the real MVPs, as always. Greatly, 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 greatly appreciate you guys. Love y'all, man. We'll catch y'all on the next one, man. Later.